introducing Niv Goldenberg,
Hi.
co-founder and CPO at Linx Security.
Yeah.
How are you, mate?
I'm great. Super excited. Coming here, having all the energies from all the customer, vendor, security practitioners. Can't be more pumped about this week.
Love it. Well, first I've got to apologise for just sort of dragging you off the conference floor to do this recording completely unprepared. But obviously, look, coming out of stealth and, emerging from stealth last month, I think it was, wasn't it? With quite a nice raise with Linx. And we can talk about that in a minute, but it's a great opportunity to have you on, so I appreciate that. So look, with all my guests, Niv, I like to sort of take it right back to where it all began and how you got into the industry, man.
You know, it's a funny story. If you go back, I was sure that now I'm going to be in Paris in the Olympics playing water polo, because I was playing water polo since I was 9, playing for the national team in Israel. And then at some point I realized that I'm not growing fast enough. So physically I'm limited. Mentally, I think I'm in a great shape. And then I realized that there are other ways for me to make huge impact that I'm looking for. And then I got into this amazing program in the army called the Talpiot. Many famous graduates that are now very influential in a variety of industries, including tech and cyber. Mm-hmm. And I had the privilege to serve my country in 8200, the intelligence unit, and starting get there into cyber. And I think that one of the amazing thing about it is that you start as a true practitioner, being also on the offensive side. And obviously I cannot share much details about it, but I think it really opened my mind and made me understand that impossible is nothing. And if you get a great group of people together with a great mission, they'll achieve everything. And from there, it kind of continued to grow within the army and the responsibilities, ran some important projects. And then when I realized that I'm going to my more commercial or civil part of my career, took some time off, not back to the pool, but worked as a baker for 4 months.
Oh, really?
Realized that this is also something that makes me happy, but technology is just something that I cannot be away from for too long. And then joining the SaaS security world through the Adalom team, spending some time there, going through the acquisition in Microsoft, scaling the business, helping organizations solve their challenges in SaaS security, cloud security. And then it was a very natural transition for me to go and join the amazing team in Transmit Security. Mm-hmm. So this was when I crossed from SaaS security and workforce security really to focus on identity security on the consumer or the customer side. Mm-hmm. And so I spent there 2.5 years as their VP of product. And then Israel and I, that we met 20 years ago when we were friends in Talpiot, realized that this is a burning problem that we really need to build links to help the organization solve it. So for me, it was starting from something that is really far away from technology, but being lured into technology and cyber is something that's really my passion.
Yeah, wow, fascinating. What about, so when you went from Microsoft to Transmit, how was that experience? Because obviously, great business, great visionaries, great security leaders that work there. How actually was it? Did you double ARR while she was there?
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I think that for me, I've learned so much, and I was able to feel that I'm achieving with the teams that I'm part of so many things. And going from Microsoft, this amazing company that knows how to build a product at scale and get to the market all over, and coming to Transmit, this great technology, amazing founding team, and amazing team in general that was growing and becoming this undeniable player within customer identity and access management. It felt to me that this is a new challenge to really come and take this amazing thing that was built there and to continue to grow and scale it. And from a vendor that was the first innovator in identity orchestration, we really continue to extend our offering and to provide a one-stop shop for organization for everything related to customer identity and access management, whether it is fraud, identity verification, etc. So for me, it was great to see how we can leverage things, practices that I've seen work so well in Microsoft and take it to this promising company like Transmit.
Yeah, nice. When did you and Israel then decide, right, let's co-found? When did that happen?
You know, it's funny because Israel and I, as great friends, we've been spending time together for the past 1 year, talking a lot of time. I moved to the US 3 years ago, and then most of our time was Zoom calls or WhatsApp video calls, and we're talking, checking on each other. And then Israel called me once and told me, hey, we have to do it now. The time is now. And I told him, no way. It's not part of the plan. Like, transmit is the thing. I don't see myself doing anything else. But then we realized that the problem is so big and that we have the obligation to go and solve it. So we just realized that we're going to, in a way, change a little bit our paths from the places that we've been there and just go and solve this challenge.
Yeah. Let's talk about the problem, because identity, like, it's super hot at the moment. It seems there are a lot of companies all in the space trying to do similar or slightly different things. What is the real challenge that you see?
I think it splits into several aspects. I think the first challenge is to really stop the disappointment and the disbelief of organization and provide them the solution that they're waiting for so many years. I think that identity has been around for the past 20, 30 years. The complexity grew. The solution did not change in a fast enough pace. And I think that we now as an industry have the obligation to go and help the organization solve the challenges of securing the identities, which became much more complex because of the identity sprawl, the multitude of different type of identities, and the velocity in which the business adopts new technology with identities. Second is really compliance needs that are really growing, and it's something that you always need to be up to date, and you need to make sure that you're compliant and ready for every audit that you are regulated to. And third is really the operational aspect, and I think that the operation and really the triangle of all of these things together, and to make it even more complex, you need to also put into the equation the user psychology, because identity, unlike other areas in security, is the area in a continuous friction or contact between the business, between the information workers and the security teams, the identity teams. And we all know that information workers want to work. They do not like MFA prompts. They do not like when they do not have enough permissions. They do not like when they cannot access an application that they need. And the challenge is really on how do you do it in the right way. For us, it was a very important realization that many of the answers for who should have access to what, when should they have access, what is the risk, already exists within the organization. It is just fragmented across so many different places. And then for an organization to be able to find the information, pull it together, rationalize it, and then act upon it is something that's very complex. For us, luckily, it's something that we've been doing for the better part of our career. So we know how to do these kind of challenges and how to build these type of solutions. So I think that nowadays the real challenge for organization is how do they modernize their identity security and governance solutions in a way that addresses both what they have now and what they're going to have in the next 5, 10 years. Because what they currently have, in most cases, is not good enough for what they now need, but it's hard for them to make this step forward. And I think the beauty of our approach is that we help organizations go in a very streamlined and smooth way from what they currently have to a more modern type of solution and approach that help them really gain the belief again and be very optimistic and actually solve the challenges that they have.
Brilliant. I love the name of Linx. Where did that come from?
Naming is always a funny exercise, and there are always so many opinions. You sit in a room together and you start wondering, so what is the one word that describes us, and how does it connect to our mission, and how catchy it is, and make sure that it's something that even if you pick a random person in the street and you ask him, okay, so we're Linx, what is the first association that comes to mind? It's something that works well. For us, we were thinking about what is the core thing that we solve, what is the unique part of our technology, and it's really about creating the linkage between all of the different aspects of identity, between the users and the accounts, whether it is human accounts, non-human accounts, the accounts and the groups and the role and the permissions and the resources, this very complex web of relationship that we know how to create the linkage between them and then how to simplify it. And when we realized that this is what we're doing, we're creating these links, rationalizing them as a foundational layer that on top of you can solve the identity challenges, it became very clear that this is the solution, or that this is the name that we want to go with. Finding the logo later is also an interesting challenge. Everyone have their own aesthetics and opinions. But I think that when we go on calls with different customers and organizations, And when they tell us, so you're named Link because you're making the linkage between all the different things, for us, this is the proof that we hoped for, that the name is self-explanatory.
Yeah. Tell us a bit more about Linx, because obviously you've come out last month with an absolute bang of coming out of stealth. Tell us more about the product. So how does it work? Tell me more.
So Linx, I think that first and foremost, this is an amazing group of people. And for us being able to continue to work with people that build with us product in the past, that have a strong background and experience in security and come and really approach the challenges of identity from a security perspective, this was one of the primary things that was important for us to establish as the culture and DNA of our company. In terms of the company, we build a very modern technology that enables us to really address these complex challenges. So taking a fundamental layer of graph database is the foundational layer in which we model and we store all the information, and then being able to make it in a way that makes us faster, more accurate, and more actionable, rather than a way that makes us more complex. On top of it, we layered additional engines that are in the core value of the solution that we provide. An engine for data collection, correlation, normalization, that knows how to take all the data from the organization and then put it within the graph. An engine that knows how to run the analytics on a graph, whether it is on a snapshot of the graph, whether it is on historical snapshot of the graph. So really to look at all of the different dimensions of the problem, digest them, and then to provide the insights into what are the risks, what are the opportunities to shrink the identity attack surface, what are the things that the organization could do to improve their posture, and not only their posture, to improve the operations, and also to govern at the end of the day, the identity in a better way. And the last aspect is really the engine of orchestration. So from our side, it is very important to make sure that we address the challenge from the beginning to the end, and we do not stop just in providing a recommendation or providing reporting or identifying threats, really being a one-stop platform that could help organization bring together all of the practices and the mindset of security and governance and put it in the same place.
Yeah. Nice. You mentioned earlier that some of the legacy tools just simply haven't kept up because of the evolution of the space. Like, since you've been in the space for so long, how have you seen it change?
Great question. I think that when you look at the needs of organizations, the needs have changed. I think that if you go 2 decades back, the first thing was, how can I leverage these new technologies? How can I leverage software in order to structure processes, to make sure that things are happening when they need to happen? But in terms of also of the timescale was a matter of taking things that takes months and make them days. The velocity of the business was also limited, so it matched the velocity of the business. When you look now, fast forward to nowadays, the challenges are much different because everything is much more complex. You have lots of platforms that have a very complex role-based access model, whether it is GitHub for developers, Salesforce for sales, whether it is the different cloud platforms. So organizations need to be able to understand and really to govern all of the different systems. The velocity is much higher. So we, as probably a human, became much more impatient, and we want access now, and we need it now, and we won't wait for anything. So also the type of solution need to be much faster. And also the requirements from the different users are for intelligence and to be able to make them smarter when sometimes the economic situation is that they cannot grow their team, but they still need to have the business secure. So the way that we see the modern type of solution need to embed modern technologies such as AI into the product to make sure that we can leverage this type of novel technologies, to leverage new type of databases, to be able to model the information in a different way and to really interact with the end users in a different way, and to make all of the different practitioners that interact with the solution smarter and better. We sometimes look at it, and one of my mentors or managers in the past told me that we need to think about laziness as a principle for what is the value that we want to create to our customers. And in the beginning, I didn't understand what he was referring to, but then he explained to me that we need to create such great experiences and we need to generate such a significant value that the person that uses it could be very lazy because they have the solution. So from our perspective, we want to make their life easier and not to make a tool that is complex in a way that you need to learn more in order to leverage it. We want to take on ourselves the complexity and to simplify and streamline all of the rest of the things for the organizations.
Yeah, nice. You mentioned experiences. How's the experience been so far for you founding your first company?
The experience is great. I've been privileged to be part of this amazing team of founders, to work with them, to join them in different phases on their journey. And I think that now, as a founder, this is such a powerful experience. You feel it 24/7. You feel the high highs, the low lows. But I think that the ability to really bring this vision to life, to execute on the mission, to build such an amazing team of people, and to work together in executing on what we do, this is great. And always to do it with people that you know for so many years, and the trust level is just so telepathic, in the sense that sometimes you don't need to say anything. You just need to give the look, and they know already what you mean. So to me, this is a great experience.
Yeah, well, I can feel the energy just when you're talking about it. You can feel it. So what's the future for you guys? I know it seems like it's just the beginning, so the future might seem a long way away.
It is really the beginning. I think that the future is very bright. We get a great traction from the market. Customers that love the product, that says how we change the way that they do identity security and governance. I think that for us, the future is clear in terms of, one, continue to grow and to scale both the team. We're now expanding much further here in the US. Continue to execute and to release more capabilities. And I think really helping organization to change the way that they think about identity. I would say in a nerdy way, as someone that did his bachelor in physics, that the way that we look at it is that we're really changing the physics of identity, changing the physics from things that takes a lot of days or long days to things that takes seconds, changing that we're removing friction from no more static or dynamic friction, but making things really smooth and intuitive. And I think that in general for the industry, I think it is a great time, because we're seeing how many attacks are now focused on identities. Coming into MGM, I could not avoid thinking about what happened last year here, a Snowflake with the recent breach, and it seems that the attackers are not resting, and they're looking for the easiest place for them to attack. So I think that the fact that now there is companies like us in the market that took this as their mission, I think that it is great both for the organization and also for our ability to go and make it a better ecosystem.
Love it. Niv, thank you very much for coming on the show, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's brilliant.
Thank you for listening to this very special BlackHat 2024 edition of CyberBytes, the podcast. If you did enjoy the show, please like, subscribe, and share with your colleagues and friends. If you're a candidate looking for a new role or a hiring manager looking for their next technical or go-to-market hire, then please reach out directly or via our company email, info@aspronsearch.com.